story, the podcast where healing meets growth. And every chapter reminds us that our story is still being written. I'm your host and I'm so excited to welcome you to season 2. If you joined me during season 1, thank you for walking alongside me through the lessons, challenges, victories, and revelations that came with rewriting the narratives of our lives. We explored what it means to heal, to let go, and to embrace the possibility of a new beginning. But this season is different. We've been doing the work and still doing the work. So season 2 is all about that growth. It's about recognizing how far we've come, even when the progress wasn't always obvious. It's about celebrating the small victories, embracing the lessons hidden in the setbacks, and understanding that becoming the best version of ourselves is a journey, not a destination. Together we'll have honest conversations about personal enlightenment, self-discovery, faith, resilience, purpose, and the courage to continue growing when life challenges us. We'll explore practical ways to move forward while also taking time to reflect on the progress we've already made. My hope is that as you listen, you'll begin to see your own growth more clearly. You'll recognize the strength you've gained, the obstacles you've overcome, and the person you're becoming. Sometimes we're so focused on where we're trying to go that we forget to honor how far we've already traveled. So whether you're starting over, rebuilding, healing, dreaming bigger, or simply learning to love yourself a little more each day, this season is for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And thank you for continuing to rewrite your story alongside me. Now let's begin this next chapter together. Welcome to season 2 of Rewriting My Story.
Black women were never meant to stay small. There is something deeply exhausting about how many Black women spend years learning how to survive spaces that were never built to hold them fully. Years learning how to shrink, how to soften themselves, how to become digestible. Not because of lack of power, but because the world has always had complicated feelings about powerful Black women. So many Black women grow up learning early that they must be twice as good just to receive half the grace. Twice as educated, twice as polished, twice as composed, twice as patient, and somehow still expected to apologize for taking up space. Black women learn young that the world will often misunderstand their confidence as aggression, their boundaries as attitude, their honesty as intimidation, their pain as strength. And maybe that's one of the cruelest things this world has done to black women. It has romanticized their suffering. People praise black women for being strong while ignoring everything they survived to become that way. But strength was never supposed to become a prison. And somewhere along the way, too many black women learned that survival mattered more than softness. So they became caretakers, fixers, builders, protectors, holding families together, holding communities together, holding relationships together, holding everybody except themselves. And the tragedy is that many black women have been taught to wear exhaustion like honor, to wear silence like maturity, to wear sacrifice like identity, to keep showing up, keep giving, keep caring, keep enduring, even when nobody asks, who carries you? Because black women are so often expected to be unbreakable, the strong friend, the dependable one, the resilient one, the woman who can survive anything. But survival is not the same thing as living. And there comes a moment in many black women's lives where something inside them gets tired. Not weak, tired. Tired of being everybody's safe place while having nowhere safe to land themselves. Tired of being praised for endurance while privately drowning. Tired of shrinking their emotions so other people don't feel uncomfortable. Tired of carrying generations of pain in silence. Because black women carry history in their bodies. History of being unheard, overworked, unprotected, hypersexualized, dismissed, expected to nurture everyone while neglecting themselves, and still somehow expected to smile through it all, still expected to remain graceful while bleeding, still expected to be the strong black woman. But let me say this clearly. Black women were never meant to exist only in survival mode. We were never created just to endure pain beautifully. We were never meant to spend our entire lives providing their worth or proving our worth to people determined not to see it. And yet, so many of us spend years making ourselves smaller to fit into rooms that benefit from our labor but fear our power. So they code switch, tone themselves down, speak softer, smile more, over-explain, over-perform. Trying to appear safe, trying not to be labeled difficult, trying not to be called angry, because black women knew the cost of being misunderstood. We know how it feels to walk into spaces where our intelligence is questioned before we even speak. To know we must constantly manage how we are perceived. And that in itself is exhausting. Exhausting to edit ourselves before world can reject us. Exhausting to constantly calculate how much honesty is allowed. Exhausting to carry brilliance while pretending not to intimidate people. But there comes a moment when we as black women begin to remember ourselves. And that kind of awakening is powerful. Because once a black woman stops apologizing for her presence, there is no putting her back into silence. We stop asking, how do I make people comfortable? And start asking, why have I spent my whole life making myself uncomfortable for everybody else? That question changes everything. Because healing shifts a black woman's posture. She's no longer bends herself into exhaustion trying to earn love. She no longer confuses self-sacrifice with virtue. She no longer believed that suffering quietly makes her more valuable. She begins to reclaim softness, rest, joy, boundaries, pleasure, peace. Things Black women have historically been denied. And there is something revolutionary about a Black woman choosing herself in a world that taught her everybody else should come first. There is something revolutionary about a Black woman resting without guilt, about her saying no without explanation, about her speaking directly without apologizing for her tone, about her existing fully without performing survival for people. Because the truth is, many of us Black women were taught that our value lived in what we could endure, how much we could carry, how much disrespect we could survive, how much pain we could absorb without falling apart. But healing teaches us different. Healing teaches Black women that they deserve more than survival. They deserve softness without suspicion, love without struggle, rest without guilt, protection without conditions. And maybe the most beautiful thing happening right now is that Black women are beginning to reject the idea that they must destroy themselves to be worthy. Nah, we're choosing therapy, choosing boundaries, choosing honesty, choosing peace, and choosing ourselves. And not everybody likes it, because people become comfortable benefiting from women who abandon themselves, especially Black women. People celebrate Black women when they are given endlessly, forgiving endlessly, and sacrificing endlessly. But the moment a Black woman says, no, I deserve better, I will not carry this anymore, suddenly she becomes difficult. Suddenly she must be cheating. Suddenly she must be doing something. Suddenly she's not for Black families. Suddenly she's not for Black love. Suddenly she becomes intimidating, selfish, and too much. But every liberated Black woman has been called too much by somebody threatened by her freedom, because freedom changes a woman. A healed Black woman walks differently, speaks differently, loves differently, because she no longer enters rooms asking permission to exist. She knows she belongs there. And let's be honest, the world has always been uncomfortable with the Black woman who knew their worth. The Black woman who refuses to shrink. Black woman who speaks truth clearly. Black woman who demands reciprocity. Black woman who stops settling for crumbs. Because once a Black woman truly sees her own value, systems built on her silence begin to shake. And that makes even deeper is that Black women are not only healing for themselves, they are healing for generations. Healing mothers who never got to rest, grandmothers who survived but never felt safe, ancestors who carry burdens too heavy and still kept going. Black women are carrying inherited resilience, but they are also learning they do not have to inherit suffering. And that matters, because daughters are watching how Black women speak about themselves, how they allow themselves to be treated, how they love, how they recover, and how they honor themselves. And when a Black woman chooses herself, she gives other Black women permission to do the same. Permission to stop shrinking, permission to stop over-explaining, permission to stop apologizing for existing loudly and fully. Because Black women were never meant to live muted lives. We were never meant to dilute our brilliance to protect fragile egos. Never meant to apologize for the ambition, our intelligence, our beauty, our leadership, nor our voice. Black women were never meant to spend our lives carrying everybody else while abandoning ourselves. And I think many black women are currently grieving the versions of themselves they had to become just to survive. The woman who tailored disrespect because she feared abandonment. The woman who stayed silent to avoid conflict. The woman who carried pain privately while smiling publicly. But there is power in finally becoming honest. Honest about exhaustion. Honest about anger. Honest about loneliness. Honest about desire for softness. Because black women deserve softness too. Not just strength, not just resilience, not just survival. Softness, joy, ease, safety, tenderness, fully. And maybe that is the revolution. Not just black women surviving, but black women finally living. Living without apology, without shrinking, without constantly proving their humanity. Black women remembering that they are allowed to take up space, allowed to be protected, allowed to be vulnerable in safe spaces, allowed to be powerful and soft at the same time. And when black women stop apologizing for their truth, their presence, and their power, entire generations change. Because liberated women liberate people. A black woman who knows her worth raises children differently, builds community differently, chooses relationships differently, and dreams differently. And the world does not need more black women destroying themselves to hold everything together. The world needs black women whole, rested, healed, honored, seen, safe, and free. So if you are a black woman learning how to stop shrinking, learning how to stop apologizing for your voice, learning how to exist without making yourself smaller for other people's comfort, please hear this. You are not too much. You are finally allowing yourself to be fully seen. And after generations of silence, survival, and self-sacrifice, that is sacred. Because you were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to disappear inside your own life. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. Your softness matters. Your truth matters. And the moment we as black women truly understand that, we will stop asking the world for permission and start walking like we already know who we are. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Rewriting My Story. If you could be so kind to follow, I'm on all podcast platforms. Hit that follow button, leave a comment, leave some encouraging words. You can even leave a discussion topic that you would like for me to cover. I thank you again for your support. It means so much to me.